All right. Here, where's someone not there to shake their hand? Sorry, I just reflect the news. I don't make it. I think I'm going. Okay, I think it's 10 o'clock. It's 11 o'clock. You want to get out of here? I'm going to get going. You can hear me just fine? Yeah. So I will introduce myself. And today, your guest is comic book legend, Rob Liefeld. I'm awesome. Yes, I am. No, here we go. Confidence has never been my problem. Okay, so literally when you're, people always say, how do you have such thick skin? I'm like, grow up like I did, with all your friends who were skinny and buff and you were the chubby kid. And they make fun of you all the time. And you go, you'll get through it. And then have your dad get cancer and be in a coma for 9 months, and you'll be like, everything else will fall away very quickly. Because, like, you draw a really crappy picture of Captain America, and people make fun of it, and you go, not dad in a coma for 9 months. Doesn't raise to that level. So that's it. I don't have an issue with confidence, unfortunately. So, for all of us. So, hey, guys, thank you for coming to my panel. And here's the deal. I have had a 40-year history with this amazing show. I'm going to tell you right now today, there is no show better than San Diego Comic-Con. So I am so thrilled. I'm going to tell you something. I came here with my dad in 1982 on a train. It was like, whoa, I couldn't believe all the talent, all the comics, more than I'd ever seen stuffed in any one place. I had only discovered comic stores. I covered this morning real briefly on my podcast. I discovered them through the Yellow Pages. And as I was talking about the Yellow Pages, I swear to you, my kids would not know what the Yellow Pages is. Most of your kids would not know. Again, like they used to, once a year, drop them at your doorstep, and you get every phone number in 50 miles. And one day I went, used books, comic books. And I have to revisit this. The first one that we went to that said, we sell comics. Paul Liefeld, a beautiful man, also Baptist minister. Little Robbie Liefeld was the son of a Baptist minister. That's going to inform so much of what I discuss with you today, because we're going to discuss the Old Testament, how ridiculously violent it is, and how you shouldn't give it to a kid who is so horny for action and blood and violence. The Old Testament is it's R-rated. But, don't see Deadpool because it's R-rated, but definitely keep your kid the Bible. My parents did, and I'm like, wow! Don't read Song of Solomon. That's almost porn. But, and I did, 10 years old, I was really bored with my grandfather's message, and I was like, wait, there's boobies in the Bible! Wow! Okay, I'm a family show, so that's as far as I'll take it today. But the thing is, Paul Liefeld, being very uptight, upright, very, very straight-laced, he takes me to Fullerton, and there's it's like a house, the front of a house, and we go in there, and I immediately know I'm in trouble, because used books, comics have all sorts of old penthouses and Playboys on the wall. And I know immediately, I need to look away. My dad will grab me by the shoulder and pull me out of this as fast as I can. So I'm like, oh crap. And I could just feel my dad, wait a second, what house of sin are we in? And I'm like, did you have old comic books? And he said, right over here, 2 books. Old dude, 2 boxes. I opened the boxes, and they're all in hard Mylars, and they are Silver Age comics that I should have figured out a way to mow more lawns and buy those now, because they'd be on heritage auctions, for $100,000 tomorrow. But I was like, I looked through them, they were all way too expensive. I saw that it wasn't new books, and I'm telling you, my dad was fuming. Like, what are you doing? You've got 30 more seconds, and I'm like, okay, thanks, and we got out of there. So to get me to another comic book store, because guys, I didn't drive, come on. I need my pops or my mom to take me to these places. And my dad was not a fan of comic stores. They go to comic stores now with their beautiful fixtures and their bright lights and their glass, everything. And I'm like, why couldn't this exist here when I was a kid? Because all the comic stores in the 70s, I know some of you were here, Rick, you can back me up on this, they look like dungeons. They look like dungeons. You walked in, there's the cobwebs, you're like, where's the comics? It's dark, there's a bunch of guys smoking pot in the background, and you're like, can I have your comics? Yeah, man. Right here. Again, and my dad's like, what is this? So again, that was my introduction to comics. So I was shocked when he jumped the chance to take me to San Diego Comic-Con in 1982. We made a father-son weekend of it, took the train down. Just amazing. He let me just completely dive into the world of comics, because I think my mom and my dad just knew that was my salvation. I just redeemed myself in comics. It gave me energy, it gave me imagination. So to watch this show go from the Civic Center up the street to the very first year here, there was Hall A, B, C. I have watched this center stop when the real estate ran out. We'd be in Hall X if they couldn't kept building it. And they'll tell you, they would have absolutely kept building it. So to watch it grow over the years, and then the funniest thing, And some of you guys are on social media and you look at Facebook, and today I saw a couple of guys, friends of mine even, who are like, I haven't been at Comic-Con since 2009, I couldn't do it anymore, I can't go. And then the guy goes, I gave up in 2015, I gave up in 2010, and I'm like, you're missing out! This is the greatest! But I could have been those guys, but I had 3 kids who, and I love telling the story, my wife and I, we prided ourselves on taking them to these kick-ass resorts, like tropical vacations, and we'd go for like 9 days, 8 days, these killer places. And at the end of the summer, the night before school, we look in the rearview mirror, and they're all, this is when they're like 8 and 6 and 5. We go, what was the best vacation? We thought it was going to be the resorts. And they go, Comic-Con. And I'm like, what am I doing? What am I doing wrong? Comic-Con is their favorite vacation. I should just stop doing the tropical things. So, but my kids redeemed me into this show. They love this show. They love the cards, the giveaways, the exclusives, the comics, and it completely re-energized my love affair with this very show, this very specific show. And here's the last thing I'll say about San Diego Comic-Con before moving on. I told this, a buddy of mine, very successful guy, is not here, and he's a little COVID crazy, and didn't like that there's going to be 100,000 of us with masks, and is staying away. And I said, dude, you know you're going to miss it. And I said, if you enter the Comic-Con from the Hilton, like so Hall H, go into the lobby, you got to go into the lobby off the street, and just start walking. Let's go 15 yards, 20 yards, let's go 100 yards. Stop, just stop right there. Now, look to your right. Come on, the palm trees, the blue sky, the sky reflecting off all the city, surfaces. Like, this is the best convention ever in the world. And I know that now I'm not going to get invited anymore to Chicago and New York. They're like, scratch his ass off the list. I'm telling you, you haven't been there. A bunch of guys that run a show. I'm not going to identify it exactly, but maybe the accent will be there. So it's somewhere in the East Coast. But about 7, if you don't think these shows are competitive, you're insane. They at the end of the show in a East Coast location, 3 of them come up to me. I know them all. They're very nice guys, and they go, "Hey, Liefeld, you see? Hey, we're bigger than Comic-Con. We're bigger." And I go, "I know. I saw you grabbing people off the street to stuff them in the door." Then I go, 100,022. Well, I mean, like, they're competitive. We're bigger. We're gonna post bigger numbers. So, like, I don't think Comic-Con competes with anybody, but everybody else competes with them, and this show is awesome. So I'm so glad to be back on Wednesday night. I couldn't believe all the people that are here. So thank you for being here. Here's the thing. I went to panels like you guys right now, and they were boring. All of my heroes, I go see them, and I will now imitate a comic convention from... Ask a question. Well, when I was reading Hemingway at the beach house, I was coming up with a motivation for this character, and I'm like, oh my God, just tell me why Rogue has her powers. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so it was, and then it would pass to the next guy. Let me see what my motivation. I'm not going to tell you motivations, okay? I'm going to answer your questions. The best is Q&As, and I have the mic. So you're going to have to come to me, and you're going to have to ask me questions, because really, you all have stuff on your mind, and I will answer it. The only thing I'll say before I get to that is thank you for listening to my podcast. It was, again, in a family way. My kid goes, Dad, if you want a podcast, I can help you out. This is May of the pandemic, when we all thought if we go outside, the tree is going to kill us with its infections, okay? That was a weird time, and my kids, if they're being honest with you, Dad freaked out. He sat on the couch for 2 days and looked straight up and said, we're all going to die. That was me. I admit. I'm like, the thing is, I said, my mom and I, who was in her 80s, we've never been through a pandemic. This is one thing I share. She, being super old, and me being kind of old, have never dealt with this before, just like all of us. And I figured I should talk to somebody, because I could no longer talk to anybody, because everybody kind of went quiet, and there was no movies and TV to share or talk about, and everyone just kind of cocooned. And my son Chase said, Dad, I can get you a mic, I can go order it, I can pick it up on the curb at Best Buy, just PayPal me. And I'm like, really? It's that easy? And he can tell you over the last couple of years, about 4 or 5 times, he comes down when I mess up the settings and resets me so I can podcast. And I just love telling stories of comic books, because I love comic books. I think if you've listened to the show, you know that I prefer a good comic book over pretty much anything else in the world. And as great as these movies are, don't throw tomatoes, I don't think they're as good as the comics. They're not. And I've seen amazing movies. Okay, thank you. We've grown up with Red Brown as Captain America, and the kid from Sound of Music is Spider-Man. I mean, so anything now is awesome. They're amazing. I can't believe there's a Moon Knight show. I can't believe like the B and the C-list characters are getting all the run that they're getting and the love that they're getting, and it's fantastic. But Like, I just love comic books, so I love talking about comics, and in my life, I could not believe that I was able to meet the guys that I was able to meet, and then do comics myself, and then me and my posse. I mean, like, I'm literally, again, I'm sorry, I'm looking away from my family because they're like, Dad, please don't mention us again. The thing is, my son I was guiding them to the COVID, you know. My wife keeps slipping her off. I go, you can't take it off. She goes, she has really small hands, boom, boom. I'm like, you can't take this off. You have to go wait in that line again. They were about to get their COVID stuff. I was giving them directions, and suddenly I am tackled. And I see, and it's Todd McFarlane. He tackled me on the street. And that's, I saw basically every possible angle of that shot yesterday, shot by, I was like, oh, because I didn't have a camera. It wasn't on my camera. And at least I don't travel with quite the posse that Todd does. He has like 5 people. And they do exactly. They took positions. I was like, holy crap, you do this all the time? Tackle me. It was so good to see him. We are brothers for life. We came in this business. He was one of the best mentors I've ever had in terms of what Todd gave more than anything was business advice. Business advice. You're worth more. Ask for more. Do this. And I've told you guys, I'll give you one good Todd McFarlane story if you want it later. But I'm going to open this up. Are we done yet? Are we out of here? No, okay. I've got 40 more minutes to kill. and more people have mistakenly wandered in, so this is very worrisome. This is the Rob Liefeld Observations. Oh my gosh, it's here, because you didn't get exact dates. There wasn't catalogs. You didn't get a preview. You know what I do to kill for a street date when it was showing up? You just wandered in back then, and sometimes they arrived, and sometimes they didn't. And what I didn't know was Marvel was in the 70s shipping books late all the time. That's why I got the reprints they did. But to me, I was a kid. I'm like, oh, there's a Jack Kirby book from 1966 in the New Avengers. Oh, that's because the team didn't make their deadlines, and they shipped out a new story. That's a fact, and they'll tell you, like, this was a weird period for us. So the thing is, Korvac, which they should do on film, but it would work better as a serial thing, but I mean, the budget-wise, it's as big, if not bigger than the Infinity War. But I mean, at the end, you've got all the Avengers battling this one cosmic menace, and it's a fantastic story. It riveted an entire era. And then, honestly, I think that the original Professor Xavier. See, Giant Size X-Men #1 is something, again, I wandered into the liquor store. I've mentioned the liquor store. If I could go back to the liquor store, I would, right now. It was my favorite place. They loved me in there, and I had to go back. I mean, there was so much liquor. And I would go back to the spinner rack. They had the best spinner rack ever. But Giant Size X-Men was out, and I've done this. I've done this on the podcast. I'm going to do this for you now, because it needs to be done. The original X-Men, they sucked. Because, okay? The Avengers, if you're a kid, you go, Avengers. Cap has shield. Thor has hammer. Hawkeye has bows and arrow. Iron Man has a freaking suit of armor, like, it's badass. Black Widow had a lion that she shot and choked you and pulled you down. Everyone was weaponized. You guys haven't met him yet, but there was a character, well, I think they did put him in Hawkeye. There's a character called Swordsman. He had a freaking sword that had a laser blast. Okay? These are weapons. Weaponized. And the X-Men are temple touchers and arm casters. Xavier and Jean Grey, stop! Stop! No! And then Angel would be like, I'll flap my wings and defeat you in the air. And you're like, all you can do is flap your wings. And then Cyclops, temple toucher, I'll blast you. Okay? And then finally the Beast said, I can bounce off walls and deflect your shots. And then Iceman had some legit powers. He could freeze you. Okay? So I wasn't buying X-Men. I knew who they were. They were appearing like Captain America during the time. And then Giant Size X-Men hit. And I knew Wolverine. I bought at Hulk 181. I saw him battle the Hulk. Wolverine is running at me. This guy in Steel, Colossus, Storm, the new X-Men. Holy crap. Drawn by Dave Cockrum. I was like, what's this? The fact that, I mean, in one story, Professor Xavier says, my old team has gone missing. They've been, abducted. I have to go find an international team, new mutants all over the world to gather to save my old students. It's so simple. Make that movie. Make that movie. I'd watch that. I want that. And I think they will sooner than later. Thanks for the question. That's it. Temple touchers, arm casters. And then, meanwhile, Thor throws a hammer, Cap throws his shield, Hawkeye belts you with the arrows. Which one you're right? You're reading the Avengers. Because, come on, weapons. Now you know why Cable and Shatterstar and Domino and Deadpool have all sorts of gear, okay? Not temple touchers. What's up?
Hi.
No, speak into it. Give it your COVID.
Question, well, thank you for help create Image Comics.
Yay, we're the best.
What are your thoughts on
30 years. Todd, Mark, Eric, Jim, Will. Two Jim. Hey. I was there, the young young one. Okay, there you go.
What are your thoughts on creator-owned books now, as far as image and like the new things with Substack? Where do you see the industry going?
Buy comic books. If they're digital, buy those. If they're paper, buy those. If they're hardcovers, look, I'm all for creators' rights. I mean, again, all of my creation, New Mutants was a fixer-upper when I got it, okay? So his question is about creators' rights. Where do I stand? Obviously, you guys, you should always, I think, give a creator a shot. Maybe it's not going to be your cup of tea. I think the biggest guy in comics right now, I know I mispronounce his name all the time. I've been told it's Tinian, it's Tinian. I think that's why he calls himself James the Fourth. He's crushing it. All he does is create new worlds all the time, and people show up and they buy it and they dig it. It's rare for a writer. The last guy I've seen with his pull is Robert Kirkman. And so, I mean, he's creating exciting worlds. People are excited by them. He's doing tremendous numbers. We did what we did because we saw, like, for me, New Mutants doesn't turn around unless I am, look, people always ask me, I'll ask myself a question, Rob, why'd you create all these questions? Because eventually someone will ask me, why'd you create all these characters? Not questions. Like, I was going to lose my job if the New Mutants got canceled. It was like, you can have this, we're thinking of canceling it, that's job security. Because people, it's just very simple. Why did you do all this? Because I needed a job next month. I needed a job that month. And every week, every month, I needed a job. I wasn't doing Spider-Man. Spider-Man's been popular forever. I wasn't doing the Avengers. I wasn't doing Wolverine or the X-Men. I was doing, it's still 30 plus years later, I have a hard time saying New Mutants. It does not roll off your tongue. Could I have the New Mutants? It'll screw you up if you say it a couple times. So I had the only X-Men book that didn't have an X-Men. Hey kids, X Factor. Hey kids, X-Men. Hey kids, classic X-Men. Hey, New Mutants. So I said, I'm getting all these very dated characters because Rusty looked like Madonna. No. Boom Boom looked like Madonna in 1982 and 1989. What's the guy? Richter looked like Billy Idol wearing Billy Idol's like white wedding jacket from 1981 and 1989. And you could tell, in all deference, now that I'm an old person, I can handle this. There were old people doing that book who were like, hey, I got a Teen Beat from 1980. This is what people must look like. No! I watched MTV 24/7 all day long. It kept me company, music videos and fashion. And so I felt like I was 22 years old when I got the book. I wanted to do it with something new and something fun, but I needed a leader. They approved cable. Cable took off. You guys showed up. You bought it up. Our sales started climbing. And then again, I got the job to write the book. Deadpool, Domino, Strife. I had been holding the good stuff. But then the response to that is, what do you do after you sell 5 million copies of X-Force? You kind of don't do Fantastic Four. Because like your window is open. And I tell people all the time, I tell talent, once your window opens, it's immediately closing. And this happens in sports too, it happens in actors' careers. I mean, heat does not hang around forever. You have to start really throwing logs into the fire to keep that burning. So when creators are stepping out on their own, or if they're launching on their own, that's even harder. I try and support all the new creator-owned books. And again, I'll be honest, I know there's some people who don't like buying them digitally. I go to Comixology all the time, man. I love, boom, getting them on my iPad or my phone. So I'm all about creators' rights. It's a long-winded answer. Thank you for asking. Thank you. Hey, what's up, buddy? How you doing?
Good, Rob. Okay, so I got a family question. Okay, so if you were stuck on a desert island for 1 year and you had to live with one superhero, who would it be? And you can't choose Aquaman, Namor, or any superhero that can fly.
Okay. No, look, you're always gonna pick your favorites. I pick Wolverine. I would like, how was it when you killed all those people in the 1800s, the 1900s, the 20th century? No, he is my favorite character of all space and time, okay? And so I would hang out with Wolverine because he could cut down trees for me. Also, create kindle for the fire. I'd just be like, Wolverine, come on, I'm your only friend. Just go and he's my favorite, and I just get great stories out of him.
The best answer I heard was Deadpool, because you could just cut off his parts and eat it, and then he'll burn it.
That would have been so self-serving of me to say, but it's a great answer.
First off, my condolences and passing your mom.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you.
I catch a lot of crap for saying that you are the Jack Kirby of this generation, but I stand behind it. Love the pod. When can we see Dan Frag on?
Okay, so thank you for the condolences. Thank you for the kind words. Give me that bump. You want her? The thing is, the guys from Extreme Studios, I've had a couple of them on. I love Dan. I'd love to get him on soon. I just, it's hard to link up with guests. There's an episode you never saw that I had my guest in, and we both tried to share the mic, and that sounded garbled and awful. So it's just linking up. I guarantee you, season 5, if I make it there, I've already got some great people lined up. But I'm just not there yet because I don't know that I'm an interview show. But I've had Robert Kirkman, I've had Eric Larson. I'd love to have Dan. Dan is a great guy. All of the Extreme Studios guys, most of them are down there. Buy something from them, a comic, a print. These guys are, I mean, Andy Park, Mr. designs all the Disney movies, designs Ant-Man, Wasp, Thor. What doesn't he design? I go, holy crap, I bumped into him at the hotel. I mean, I gave Andy his first work. He's always been so generous. He always says, I started at Extreme Studios. Guys like Jeff Monsuda made movies, made anime. Dan Frega, obviously, storyboard, directed. I mean, these guys are super talented. It was so great to kind of give them all their first job, their first break. Was there another question? Okay, well, thank you for the kind words. I really appreciate it. Thank you, sir. What's up, buddy?
I wanted to know what you would see in Deadpool 3, and also I'm a big listener of the show. I guess I wanted to see this live. Can we get the Todd McFarlane impression?
Oh, I'll give you time. Okay, so you asked me what I would like to see in Deadpool 3. I mean, guys, it kind of, well, first I need Zazie Beetz and I need Josh Brolin back, and like I will be the one guy picketing. I'll be walking around, hey, where's Cable, where's Domino? Come on, you can't do that. You can't take them away, right? I mean, come on. I don't know really what's going on. I have stepped away. Look, all the people at Fox were they were so good to me. And here's the deal. Like, again, I got told, like, Fox would have told me a week in advance that they were going to be on Disney Plus today. Because the Fox people, we grew really close trying to make that happen. Because and there was one guy, and now he runs Sony, and he knows that I know him, and I talk shit about him, and he's the president, and we talked to Spider-Man No Way Home, and I wished him all the best. He knows that I give him all the crap, because he would not, under any circumstances, make Deadpool. While he was at the studio for 6 years, he said, I don't think anybody wants to see this character. I don't think, it's got the juice. And then he left. And the new guy stepped in, and they hit the button immediately, and we got Deadpool, right? And so then it like, I put yesterday how in 2015, when they showed it, and my kids, again, my family were there. If you were in Hall H, when they showed the Deadpool trailer, it shook. And it had only shaken like that when they introduced the Avengers, when Downey Jr. came out at the end of the Thor and Captain America panel in 2010, and suddenly he brought Evans back out, and Hemsworth back out, and ScarJo, and Ruffalo, and the place went crazy. And the only other time that I felt that energy, because I've been to every Hall H since, between those, was that Deadpool trailer. And I was worked, the Fox executives were like, holy crap, what do we have? We did not see this. You watch that video, Chris Hardwick was hosting it. He did not know what to do because there was about to be a riot, because they started all chanting, play it again, play it again. And he goes, F it, just play it again, I don't know what to do here. And they played it again. And it went crazy. And then Ryan and Cass took all the Q&A, and that was kind of the beginning. And here's the thing that, like, literally, to this day, can you believe you got Deadpool in 2016 and Deadpool 2 in 2018? Like, it was the fastest turnaround for really two great movies. Now it's co-opted by Disney. I mean, since they bought Fox 4 or 5 years ago, they haven't done anything with it. We all keep waiting. I just stopped caring. Like, if it shows up, I'll see it. You'll see it. We'll all see it. We're ready to see it. I think they need it, kind of. They need a little more mature stuff. I think people want more mature stuff. I think if you look at what's going on with the boys and that entire kind of space, Deadpool got their first. Guardians of the Galaxy was the first funny one, but Deadpool took it up to that R-rated line. Again, back to the Bible. R-rated. It's R-rated. I know this. That's what made me want to collect comics, because I was like, boy, what do you mean Samson dies? I want to see him kill more Philistines. But they killed it. Everyone in the Bible, they had a last issue. And you're like, hey, over here in Marvel, like, they kill people every issue, and they keep going. There is no last issue. But again, because here's the deal. Here's the thing with the Bible. I was supposed to be in my aunt's. What do you do when you carry a ring? I don't even know. I'm about to pass out.
Ring bearer, yeah.
All of the juice is flowing out. If I pass out, just all revive short. We don't call anybody. The thing is, they gave me an illustrated Bible as a gift for being in the wedding. And there was these rad, like Frank Frazetta paintings, and it's got like one Samson full on like smacking a guy with the jawbone of an ass, because that's what he took down 500 Philistines with. And they're all bloody to a pulp, and then like he's ripping a lion's jaw, and I'm like, I love violence. This is why I discovered at 7 years old. I love violence. That's why I'm like, come on. I can't believe in the late 80s they were having congressional hearings about kids playing video games. And I'm like, what about kids who read the Bible? Right here. I'll testify. That book is violent, and it's disturbing on some levels. So anyway, I don't even know if I asked your question. Deadpool 3. The Hulk. I think the Hulk would be great. When Hulk and Deadpool get together, it's great. It's so funny. Jeff Loeb, I can say this now that he is in semi-retirement. We were having breakfast in early 2012, and he said, Robert, you're gonna love Hulk in the Avengers. Hulk, at the time was the #2 best-selling Marvel character in merchandising. Because he said, who do you think's #2? I said, Wolverine. He goes, nope, Hulk. This is where I tell you that Deadpool briefly for 3 years became the #1 and is currently #2. Okay, pretty awesome, right? Okay, so we jumped over Hulk. But he's like, Rob, the Hulk hands. The Hulk hands. You have no idea how much money Marvel made on the Hulk hands. And when the second Hulk movie didn't work, we need more Hulk. We need Hulk to move. And Jeff was an exec at the time. He's going to call me after and say, why did you tell everyone this? And I'm like, you're retired. So the thing is that he said, when you see how they treat him in Avengers, he's going to activate again and become a giant thing. And we all remember when he slapped Loki like a ragdoll and hit Thor and knocked him out of frame. I mean, I can't imagine that dynamic with Deadpool. I mean, come on, we got to start using whoever they have left. Because who else is going to retire? ScarJo, technically, is dead in the movies. Robert Downey Jr. is swimming in a vat of gazillions of dollars and has said, no thank you. Chris Evans is now twirling his mustache and a villain in other movies and won't be Cap. He wants to remind us every week, I'm not Cap! So it's like, who's left of the original? Like, there's Paul Rudd, there's Mark Ruffalo, and there's Hemsworth. But he said, did he say that was his last Thor? I don't know. Maybe Taika will come in and help out. I don't know. So I gave you a bunch of nonsense. Enjoy that. Who's got another question?
How do you come up with the characters for Youngblood and Brigade?
You know what, dude? Every kid has a notebook full of characters that they're developing, and they're gonna fill like Archer characters. I mean, patriotic characters. So when I started Image Comics, it was as obvious as I could be that I had an evil Superman. His name was Supreme, because I saw all these Superman knockoffs as a kid, from like 13 to 23. I'm like, no one ever uses the word Supreme. I can go and get a Supreme meal at Burger King. I can get a Supreme wash at the car wash. I'm like, how are they not using this? So I'm like, no one uses it. I'm using it. Supreme. Your question was, how did I create these characters? I just wanted everyone to know if you couldn't hear, and you don't have to stand anymore. You can sit down. I will answer your question, or you can stand. That's fine. You're good. The thing is, like Marvel's version of Superman was called Hyperion. I didn't give that name a lot of points. You missed Supreme. You got to use Supreme. Well, now you got Homelander. You got an invincible Omni-Man, right? I mean, everybody has a version of Supreme because we all want to do that version of Supreme because none of us currently own Superman. So you go, well, I want to do a guy who's as powerful as Superman, so Supreme. I want to do a Superboy, so Kid Supreme. I want to do Supergirl, Suprema. So man, it's that simple, okay? I mean, I created my own kind of monster, like Hulk, and I called him Smash. Because what does Hulk do? He smashes, and I'm sure the Marvel lawyer goes, this guy is driving us bonkers! I'm going to do, okay, I got to get on the stage. I will tell you an Image Comics 30th anniversary story. How much time do I have? Are we done? I have like 20 minutes? Oh, I will definitely pass out. Okay, here's the deal. You want your tie? I'm going to work in your tie. Because this happened. We used to have meetings at the Anaheim offices. I had the Extreme Studios, and there was Image, and they were on the 10th floor, and we looked into, you could actually, on our windows, see into Angel Stadium. I was like, we don't have to pay more for this? During baseball season, you'd like go stand in the window and go, oh, he's on third. I wonder if he's how many strikeouts. They were the best offices. And then, the thing I didn't know, I've completely segued, but you need to know this. All the Extreme guys, if you go downstairs and ask any of them, they will confirm this. They had kept this from me for months. They had found access to the roof on the 12th floor, above the 12th floor. And do you know those styrofoam planes that are like yay big? Well, I mean, they're giant. If you don't know what styrofoam is, I'm sorry. And they would throw them from the 12th floor. The 57 freeway was right here. And they would, that thing would catch wind and it would land on one side of the car coming. And I'm like, we are criminals! You are doing criminal behavior! Give me the next one! And I sat there, we're in rapid attention. Oh, and I'm sure that car that swerved didn't know what hit it. But these were a bunch of very mischievous people that I hired. They were all younger than me, and I was 24, so how scary is that, right? And I'm giving these guys giant salaries, and so that they can go on the roof and break all the rules. So these guys, I know I'm going to get to the Image story. I might have just skipped an Extreme story to get you to the roof story. But yeah, the Angel baseball game, that's it. Okay, so here's the deal. All the Image owners were flying into that location to meet, because we would go to, sometimes we'd go to Todd's house, sometimes we'd come to this. So Todd comes in, I mean, literally like his hair was on fire. Walks in the double doors, look
what I got. Check this out from the Marvel attorney.
If you see him, they'll go, yeah, that's right. Yeah, Rob told that right. And he goes, and he sat down on my couch and he goes, Dear Mr. He reads me the letter. Dear Mr. McFarlane, we have seen your promotions for your upcoming comic, The Spawn. We believe The Spawn infringes on our trademark and copyrighted use of the skull motif found on Punisher and Ghost Rider. We believe you are infringing on the trademark and copyright motif that we use change with Ghost Rider. Crap. Are there kids in here? Yeah. Okay, I'm not going to do it. He goes, F him! I would do the real one, but he goes, F him! F this lawyer! And he goes, I'm writing a letter right now. And he goes, got a Sharpie? And he gets, Dear Mr. Effing Lawyer, the last time I looked, Marvel does not own chains. Marvel does not own skulls, flaming or otherwise. I was like, back then we would have had like the phones like, go Todd, go. We have evidence, and he'd be like, sincerely, Todd McFarlane, go F yourself. Let's get this off tomorrow. And I was like, that's awesome. Like you want to talk bravura. This guy had it, right? And we were like, he was on fire because honestly, that's what so when you say, what inspired you? Well, I have an archer, you have an archer. I have a skull guy, you have a skull guy. And Marvel felt pretty powerful about their skull guy and their chains. And because literally, you sit back and you go, okay, Ghost Rider did have a skull, but so does a bunch of, Golden Age characters. And Todd even did a skull character in Infinity Inc. called Crossbones. And so it's just, we all kind of borrow from the same wavelength. Again, Omni-Man, Homelander, Supreme, they're all the same guy. They're just written differently, given whatever mission or purpose. But it's an archetype. So I had a bunch of archetypes. I just ran with it. And I was fortunate enough that everybody wanted to run with it with me. And Image just ballooned and exploded. And we just had the best time. And literally, that 1992 is the craziest period. If I stand on this chair, you won't take me away in cuffs, right? Okay, and so I told the story today. Thank you for your question, I answered it. I got, was that an okay Todd McFarlane impression? Did I do it? I'm in power.
Okay, you got it. Before I ask the question, I want to give you the reason for a thank you, and it is you are a curator of knowledge and history, but documented it in a podcast that we can access.
Thank you.
Going from history to your experiences with Will Smith and Steven Spielberg, so thank you for that. The question is, we have seen television, cowboys, and Native Americans influence comic books. Now we've seen the superheroes in comic books influence cinema, and cinema pump up those books. What is it going to take to keep the synergy going between the cinema and the comic books, specifically superhero comic books today?
Is your question like how are we going to keep it fresh? How are we going to keep like comic books fresh with because again, the big quote, I know you're getting at here, like Spielberg and the others say like comic books are the new westerns, because cowboys, okay, sorry kids. My family knows on Saturday morning, it's Saturday morning cowboy time. My daughter, is that 10 minutes? You're almost out of here, 10 minutes, okay? Okay, thank you, I'm gonna answer this question. Okay, so when I was growing up, everything was cowboys. Again, my buddy Rick here, he's my age, he can attest to this. It's Gunsmoke, it's Rifleman. Rifleman had the best opening of all time. Go on YouTube, it's literally this badass guy named Chuck Connors, and he's walking, cocking his rifle and firing. And you're like, oh my gosh! Again, so much violence. I was so attracted to it. And I have never shot a rifle, by the way. So the thing is that Westerns were really dominated cinema and television for so long. And trust me, I'm going to tell you, I've said it several times today. Look, you guys had nothing to do with The Boys. Except I know it is phenomenally successful because it has walked right up to the edge and pushed the boundary in the same way that Deadpool did. Yeah, like you guys don't understand it. When I was on the set of Deadpool after the second day of dailies, because you got to understand, they fly you in, they put you up at the freaking best hotel you've ever been at. You're
limoed to set. You're like, oh my gosh, I'm living my dreams. I already met Ryan the day before in his regular clothes, but now he's in Deadpool, and what am I doing? There's my character, and he looks awesome. Oh my gosh! And Tim Miller's like, you're crazy, because Tim talks like this. You're nuts, man. And I'm like, I'm just having a good time. But after one of the cuts, the writers, Rhett and Paul, we're all behind the monitor, and I go, you guys! Now remember in 2015 what this number meant. It was a big number. I said, this movie's gonna open to $60 million. And I got, shut up, Liefeld, shut up. What are you doing? You wanna jinx us? Don't say that shit on set. I'm like, oh, sorry. No positive outlook of the movie on set. Just quiet. And then, I literally, after that Hall H, I'm like, it's opening to 75. We got 75. $150 million. I emailed all the Fox guys, because that weekend it was great. All the Fox people, they were so great, and they were so excited. Most of them are now at Paramount Pictures, but they're like, Rob, man, and they know this stuff. When you read that stuff, that data you get on Friday morning, they have got all the Geigers coming in from all the theaters. Based on Thursday night preview, Rob, we're going to do this much on Friday, this much on Saturday, and we're going to end up at this Monday on Sunday, so they can figure this out. It was because it was dangerous. It was R-rated, and Luke, I'm going to embarrass you right now. My son, Luke Liefeld, did not want to see Deadpool. This is the best. I'm going to look right at you when I tell you this, because this is the best memory. He was like, oh, Dad, you're kind of involved in it. Who cares? And I was not cool. I was not cool, Dad. And so then, Deadpool catches a little buzz, heading into the weekend. And so then, can you take me and my friends to see Deadpool? Yeah, Anaheim Hills Regal. And we go there on a Sunday night, and as we're pulling up, there's like this 200 people line outside. And I'm like, hey, you're 15. I don't know how you get into this movie, but it's not my problem. Good luck. And me and my wife drove away. And he tells us later, and don't deny this, he tells us later, yeah, they wouldn't let us buy the tickets, we were too young. So we bought tickets to Zoolander 2, and we snuck in. And my heart swelled with pride. My kid had become legit. He stole his way into the theater. And then I did say, I look back, don't ever give Ben Stiller Ryan Reynolds money ever again. Okay, because whatever that weekend was, it was absent a lot of kids, Luke Liefeld, and you guys. So I put up the memory yesterday. I cannot believe I'm doing this. This is so fun. I did not know if I'd have an opportunity to do this. I put up the memory of the Hall H yesterday. And so I screen grabbed this, because I got this a lot. I got really angry mommies who brought their kids up in their Deadpool uniforms, and they looked just adorable. And this one woman was really kind of accosting me one day, and I said, Billy is dressed like an assassin and a mercenary, and he kills people for a living, right? Oh, never! And I go, that kid's never dressing up like Deadpool again. I just lost, he won't be allowed to like Deadpool. But so on the comments, if you go, I left it there, on what I put yesterday, this lady, I forgot to mention that I'm also blind. Okay, hang on. Prescription glasses. All right, here we go. I probably have 5 minutes. Do I have 5 minutes? Is it 4? Is it 3? I can't see that. I was at 10 minutes ago.
15 months ago.
Okay, I'm almost at 10. Sorry, I lied. Okay, so this lady writes on the comments last night. I chuckled, because I'm like, how is this even possible? It's how many years later? Her name's GP Steele. I looked up her profile. She's a mom. I'm not happy with the R rating on Deadpool. This is 2022. This post was from 2015. I posted something from 2015. Not happy with the R rating on Deadpool. I couldn't take my grandkids or myself to see it. How did you not take yourself? You have a lot of people who don't want their kids to go to R-rated movies, and often they don't go themselves as a result. Huh? But still there. That R rating scares people. It prevents an audience. It takes people completely out of it. But more mature, that's where I'm gonna tell you right now, I couldn't believe when Jon Favreau, there's a Mandalorian roundtable. And it's on Disney Plus, the first season when he's talking to the directors. And it's like, oh my gosh, because Favreau and I are the same age. And he said, look, I saw Star Wars a million times. I loved it. I was 9 years old. I was 9 years old. He's like, it was magical. It filled up my summer. He goes, I went back 3 years later. I was 12. He was 12. We went and saw Empire Strikes Back. Empire Strikes Back was a little darker. Moved, got things a little more mature. There was higher stakes, consequences. Trust me. In 1980, you're like, wait, Han is frozen and Luke lost his hand and I have to exit the theater now? Like, what? Like, they didn't have a year later Return of the King and Two Towers. It was like, see you in 3 years, kids. and there's no internet. So, workshop this through your emotions. We'll be back in 1983. And George Lucas made a choice, because in those Starlog magazines, they were going to have the Wookiees in the third act. That wasn't Ewoks. That was Chewbacca, that was the Wookiees. And George Lucas said, I can't rely on Rob Liefeld. He's going to be 15. He's jaded. He likes girls now. I'm getting teddy bears in here. I'm getting teddy bears with knives and guns. No, not guns. And spears. And that's my path. Because I don't start turning down. I'm out. I'm out. It's a kid's movie. But, because I was 15, I had moved on to more mature taste. I see now the 10-year-olds who powered Avengers to gazillions of dollars, they're 20-year-olds. Do you like it 20? Will you like the 10 the same? No, you don't. So the way that the superhero movie is going to stay alive is by giving us more mature options. By the time I was 12 and 13, and especially 15, I wanted more Ridley Scott, more John Carpenter. I had seen The Thing, I had seen Blade Runner, I had seen Alien, and suddenly the world's bigger. So the future, great question by the way, of superhero cinema, I believe, is maturing the audience, and they have a real, I'm sure that they are sitting in their Marvel boardroom going, do we go younger, or do we go older? And someone who may or may not be in my family, Jed said to me, I think the Marvel movies are about like Disneyland Park now. And I'm like, that's scary, because I don't want to live in that world either. So I want the more mature stuff. So you may not agree with me, that's my answer. I guess you can have it both ways when your universe is as big as Marvel Comics. You can do the R-rated stuff, and look, bottom line, I'm saying all this, and right now, you can go hit Disney Plus and get all the naughty stuff that Deadpool has for you on Disney Plus. I mean, I checked it out on my app, my phone this morning. They didn't edit it. It's still kind of disturbing. And there's still that calendar sequence at the beginning that I still can't believe they let get out. And you're like, this is on Mickey Mouse Channel now, okay? This is a big deal. Disney Plus is going for it. Okay, I can do two more of these and then wrap it. Here I come. I didn't pass out. I made it. Maybe 5 more minutes. Okay. What do you got for me?
Real quick question. My introduction to comics was actually seeing like a teenager guy in a jeans commercial.
That's me.
That's you, drawing. So,
yes.
I'm just curious, how did that come about, and do you get asked that a lot?
Thank you. What's your name?
Sure.
Great question, Jeremy. I promise I'm going to get you on this fast. Look, you guys, MTV, it used to show me music videos, right? I don't know what it is anymore. I know they haven't shown music videos in a year. In years. I'm going to stay here. So here's the deal. They had a first-year campaign of Button Your Fly. And they had like a magician, they had a couple people. Well, I am putting my bag over my shoulder, about to shut the TV off, leave my condo, and go fly to WonderCon to attend that year's show, like 1990. And suddenly the screen goes black, and it says, do you work in your 501 jeans? Do you want to share what you do with us? Call this number now to be in our next campaign. And I went, wrote the number down real fast, and I called, and literally before I went out, I said, hi, I'm Rob Liefeld, I'm X-Force. Yeah, I already knew it sold 5 million copies, so I dropped that. I said, my name's Rob Liefeld, I draw comic books, I have the #1 comic in America, it's going to sell 5 million copies because it's coming out in 2 months. I said, and I draw everything in my 501 jeans. Lie, but I lie because I wear shorts all day long, but I'm wearing jeans today because I realized everyone takes pictures of me with my shorts, and an old man in shorts is not a good look. So, but when I'm drawing comics, I'm an old man in shorts. And so I lied my ass off. And then they came, and they were like, hi, it's 9:30 at night, about a month later, I'm drawing, and the phone rings, and they go, hey, we want to come out and see you, we're from this ad agency, we've been tapped by Levi's, we're considering you. I'm like, really? So they came out, Murat Michaels, who kind of was my assistant and then went on to become his own kind of super powerhouse artist, was there with me. They came, they visited, they interviewed me, they kind of took measure of me, and then I got a call the next day, Rob, you've been selected, Spike Lee is coming to your office to video. I'm like, what? Spike Lee is going to be in Brand, California? Because you guys understand, do the right thing. Spike was just the hottest thing in movies at the time, the biggest director of movies and videos. And then 2 weeks before, and this is what's shocking to me, because I see that video, and that looks exactly like my office. They said, Rob, we need to come and take everything from your office in a truck. And Spike's not going to have the time to make the trip. You're going to have to make it in Brooklyn. Murat also took a trip with me, accompanied me to that shoot. It was 2 days. I was terrible. I was nervous. Spike edited the crap out of that and made it entertaining. And I'm going to tell you this, a guy from Marvel, this is the great thing, because don't you always love when certain people in the business are on your side? The guy goes, Rob, we got this video to approve. You're terrible. This is awful. I don't think they're going to air this, but we approved it. And I'm like, okay, can I have it? Could you send it to me? Okay, if you want to see it. And I'm like, I think people are ready for the dumb comic book artist. I think they're ready for this guy. My wife and her sisters had done a bunch of commercials, and they taught me about cycles, and they like, our most successful commercial ran 3 cycles, which is like every 4 months. That commercial ran 6 cycles. I got sick of it myself, but that is the answer to the 501 Jeans commercial. I love looking at it. It's a snapshot in time of a really fun time, and the fact that they recreated my office in Brooklyn, and I'm like, that looks like the sun is coming in on that side of my office in Brea, and I'm in Brooklyn, the magic of movies, right? Okay, last question, and they're gonna run me out of here.
Hi, Rob. Thank you for your work. You were my introduction to the comic world. I collected X-Force when I was about 8 years old. It was the first comic I ever bought every issue of. I wanted to ask, you said that you felt that as good as the movies are, you still prefer the comics.
Yes.
And I wanted to know, kind of, in spite of that, what does it do for you? What feeling do you get seeing your work? There's the big screen. And also, conversely, when your work, like X-Force, unfortunately with Fox, didn't get made, what does it do for you when that work doesn't get made?
Great question. Well, what is it? His question, and thank you very much, is what is it like when you see your work translated? I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I stepped on you. See, told you I'm not very bright. The thing is how I walk and talk. So here's the deal. It's great. Let me tell you something. When you see your work come to life, look, I was excited to see the bad version of Deadpool in 2009. That elevator sequence when he's Wade and he's smarting off to everyone, and like, oh yeah, and then he cuts the bullet in half and it goes in 2 different directions, and you're like, yeah, and then it's like, wait, we sewed his mouth shut, what? And to this day, if you can tell me how he walks down and then to scare Logan, that blade comes out of his forearm that's about 4 feet long. But how does it, and there's no extra part, it's just single blade. How does it retract back up and not jam up his elbow? Because then he's like, hey. It's the long blade. I'm like, what are we doing to Deadpool? But I was like, I am going to only focus on the first 9 minutes of Wolverine Origins and not, focus on the rest. But it's exciting. Guys, when it's, ladies and gentlemen, when it is brought to life, it is like nothing else. But I'm going to tell you, the same juice comes from when you get those books from the printer, and you see your stuff, and the colors used are just right, and the printing is great, and the cover quality is exactly as you imagined it. Because again, like I said, I am a comic book obsessed individual. I love them. I keep buying the same books over and over and over, just because it's like, hey, I get to experience it again. Avengers 161, where Ultron almost kills the team. Okay, I need another copy. I was in Austin for a signing, and I'm like, they had it on the wall. I'm like, I'll take it. I'll take it for $45. Just give it to me now. Because there are certain ones I have to have. I love comics. I think they're great. I'll end this with Jack Kirby, who sat here on a panel, and I was just sitting there going, I can't believe I'm hanging with Jack Kirby. And he said, as comic book creators, we have unlimited budgets. The only limit on my budget is my imagination, and my imagination has no limits. And I went, drop the mic! Jack, drop the mic and leave the stage! Like, I was so inspired. I'm like, I have no limits on my budget. It's unlimited. When you and that piece of paper start having a go of it, it's whatever you want. It's like when Akira came out and took the world by storm, no one had seen anything that looked anything like that manga, and then when it was translated to anime. Anyway, so 30 years ago, I was almost escorted out of the building and banned for life because at my table, I stood on the chair to kind of see what was going on because it was getting crazy. And I'm going to end today thanking you for coming to my panel by standing on a chair. You're going to get a ticket from Corey right here to redeem your free profit comic. I will be signing at 2 o'clock, number 5569, and you will get a free comic book as a result of being here today. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Oh, hey, you're still here. Well, if that's the case, by all means, subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel by clicking right here. Check out the latest episode of the Gaming Gang Dispatch, or find out what YouTube recommends you check out from the channel. And of course, once again, I'm Jeff McAleer. Thanks for watching.